What if I told you that everything you've been taught about talking to women is missing the one thing she actually responds to? Before we begin, if you're ready to learn what truly creates attraction, subscribe to Psych Seeker and like this video. What you're about to discover will reshape your understanding of female psychology, and most men will never grasp this concept. You need to listen closely, because if your approach has been based on being agreeable, cautious, or simply pleasant, this will challenge you, and that's exactly the point. Real growth starts when you step outside what feels safe. Let's begin with a reality rarely shared with men. A woman's intuition is designed to sense genuineness, assertiveness, and emotional steadiness above all other traits. Everything else, the flattery, the plans, the humor, comes later. If you lack a commanding presence, your language, your aims, your very essence fail to register on her subconscious radar. This explains why countless men feel annoyed, stagnant, or utterly invisible, even when they follow conventional social advice. They assume decency or charisma is enough to be seen. It isn't. In the initial, crucial moments of meeting you, women aren't considering your finances, your vehicle, or even your manners. They are evaluating subtle indicators: the consistency of your speech, the assurance in your posture, the level of self-belief evident in how you hold space. Your statements are interpreted through this lens. If your vibe indicates neediness, anxiety, or hesitation, your actual dialogue becomes irrelevant. It never truly reaches her aware mind because her gut has already categorized you. This is the primary mistake. Men misunderstand the silent dialect of instinct. They depend on reason, pre-planned dialogues, or dating tactics. But intuition doesn't react to those. It reacts to the emotional state you inspire. Secure, yet fascinated. Stimulated, yet pulled in. Honored, yet slightly wondering about your next move. It's not deception. It's comprehending the ancient programming that influences every decision she makes before she even forms a sentence. So, if you've ever asked yourself why certain men appear naturally compelling while you feel like you're talking to a wall, it's because they operate on this instinctual wavelength. They convey leadership, poise, and unwavering self-assurance in manners you don't perceive. And this is the initial phase in learning to communicate with her in a manner that aligns with her most primal, unstated wants. This isn't about gimmicks, it's about reality, and reality is often unsettling. Let's explore further. Because grasping female intuition isn't merely about observing behavior, it's about identifying what she experiences before language even happens. Women are perpetually assessing every minor signal a man emits: the pace of his speech, the strength of his eye contact, the stillness of his gestures. And here's the harsh reality most men refuse to accept. If you are nervous, doubtful, or overly keen, her intuition records it instantly. No quantity of wit or intelligent phrasing can reverse it. She will sense it before her mind can analyze it. So what is the implication for you? It signifies that before you speak, your aura has already introduced you. Each slight pause, every tiny show of self-doubt, every small stiffness in your frame, it's all transmitting data she interprets automatically. The paradox is that men invest immense effort strategizing their dialogue, while women take mere instants evaluating the person speaking. You are being assessed long before your sentences carry weight, and most men remain completely unaware. They continue faulting their appearance, their circumstances, or their luck. But the true element is intangible, unvoiced, biological. This is where it gets difficult. Most men avoid this fact because it demands accountability. They prefer to think that using the correct phrase or a specific method will yield success. But outcomes aren't forged in vocabulary. They are forged in aura. Aura is the wordless expression of leadership, tranquility, and conviction. It's the vibe that states, "I am self-assured, I am centered, and I am unafraid of a no." Women intuit this deeply, and it triggers reactions men cannot anticipate, but only if you genuinely comprehend it. This is the reason some men enter a space and immediately draw focus without uttering a sound, while others perform and are dismissed. It isn't chance. It is authority over one's aura. Commanding this needs honest self-reflection, recognizing anxieties, vulnerabilities, and the aspects of you that falter when tested. It's difficult, but that difficulty is where change occurs. The men who win aren't the most intelligent, wealthy, or entertaining. They are those who have learned to personify their own certainty in ways women intuitively perceive. And here's the crucial part. Once you start communicating with her from this place of instinctual command, the entire dynamic shifts. Discussions flow naturally, encounters generate interest, and admiration replaces hesitation. But none of this occurs randomly. It is intentional, it is rehearsed, and it is founded on knowing how female intuition actually functions. This is where many men give up, because it's more demanding than they expected. But if you're still listening, it means you're prepared to look past the common narratives. Now, let's address a fact most men won't confess. Women are always evaluating men, frequently without conscious intent. It's not spiteful, it's intuitive. Their neurology is built to identify reliability, self-belief, and emotional mastery. Every minor response you exhibit, how you handle humor, a provocation, or even quiet, is noted and decoded on an automatic level. And if you're not conscious, you are already failing this exam unknowingly. Men invest excessive energy attempting to wow women with anecdotes, banter, or praise, believing this generates attraction. But here's the concealed truth. Appeal isn't built by your dialogue, it's built by the vibe you transmit. Your cadence, your stance, your capacity to stay composed when challenged, these are the cues her intuition values most. A small shake in your voice, a brief delay, a flash of doubt. These speak louder than any witty remark you could make. She senses it before she replies. This is why aura is the hidden advantage most men never learn. Aura is not ego. Aura is not command for power's sake. It's a mental position where you are rooted, balanced, and self-confident regardless of context. It's being able to manage refusal, joking, or examination without losing your center. And women recognize this immediately. They are attracted to men who embody this vibe because it indicates protection, resilience, and guidance, qualities embedded in their biology. And here's where it becomes painful. Most men sidestep this work because it's uneasy. It necessitates self-examination. It reveals fear, vulnerability, and skepticism. It requires that you face the pieces of yourself you've been concealing. But if you avoid it, you stay transparent, overlooked, and forgettable. You remain caught in the perpetual loop of seeking endorsement, instead of earning regard and fascination. Understanding this fact alters everything. When you learn to speak with certainty, not ego, but rooted self-belief, you circumvent all the surface-level filters. Your language gains power because it's supported by the vibe she intuitively answers to. She doesn't require conscious thought, she feels it. And this divides men who try repeatedly from men who are naturally compelling. So if you've been struggling to understand why your attempts don't work, stop concentrating on your dialogue and start focusing on your core identity. Aura, vibe, and instinctual authority, not tactics, are the secrets to unlocking appeal that most men will never understand. Now we approach the segment most men dread. Understanding the subtle examinations women use to measure you without verbalizing them. These tests are unseen if you're preoccupied with your own need for validation. She might probe you with a playful remark, test your limits in discussion, or even seem uninterested, all to observe your response. And the reality is, your reaction communicates more than 1,000,000 rehearsed sentences ever could. Your intuitive reply, not your reasoned answer, is what she is measuring. Let me be perfectly clear. Women are designed to detect realness in an instant. It's automatic, primal, and ruthlessly truthful. They sense apprehension, self-doubt, or eagerness the second it emerges. And here's the brutal fact. Most men don't even know they're displaying it. They believe they're in charge, But every micro-expression, every slight motion, every change in intonation is being read perfectly. If your vibe radiates doubt, your language is useless. She won't recall your smart comments. She'll recall the feeling you gave her in that moment. This is where expertise emerges. Expertise isn't about techniques or scripts. It's about being completely present, anchored, and solid under duress. It's about connecting without striving to dazzle, about speaking from a place of inner knowing, not outside approval. When you accomplish this, every engagement becomes captivating. She isn't choosing if you're worthy. Her intuition has already reacted to your vibe before you complete your thought. And here's the challenging part. Cultivating this aura requires facing your flaws, your concerns, and the parts of yourself that have been evading pressure for a long time. It's not simple. Most men quit because it's uncomfortable to view themselves truthfully. But if you persist, you obtain an unseen influence that draws focus naturally. Your aura speaks more powerfully than language. Your vibe becomes unquestionable, and she starts to react intuitively without understanding the reason. This is the juncture where men either evolve or stay in average performance. Understanding female instinct is not about deception, falsehoods, or acting. It's about self-command. It's about being a person who doesn't require acceptance, whose vibe naturally pulls respect, interest, and fascination. When you personify this, every engagement transforms. She notices, whether consciously or not, and your self-belief becomes compelling. So if you've ever questioned why some men get immediate focus without effort, while others strive constantly, it's because aura, not labor, is what activates instinct. Mastering this silent language is the key, and it begins with ruthlessly truthful self-assessment. Now it's time to face the hidden switches that make women intuitively pulled toward specific men. These aren't motions you studied from guides or phrases you learned. They're deeply embedded in human nature. Women react to emotional and behavioral signs that reflect self-belief, authority, and calm command. Note, I didn't say conceit, control, or showy exhibitions. Those are diversions. What counts is the vibe you emit, the manner you carry yourself, and the unwavering faith in your own worth. Consider the men who seem to naturally attract notice without exertion. They don't need to demonstrate their value. They aren't always looking for approval. They are firm in their identity, and women sense this. It's primitive. Every action, every look, every slight variation in tone communicates assurance. Instinctively, women are pulled to men who represent strength without proclamation. The reason most men fail is because they copy actions without absorbing the vibe within them. They are acting, and actors are unseen. Here's the uneasy reality. To trigger appeal, you must first command your inner condition. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your vibe must be congruent. Doubt, worry, or lack of confidence escapes in ways most men cannot see, but women can. Every micro-expression, every pause, every slight insecurity is processed by her subconscious, and it negates any spoken attempt to impress. If you're not internally solid, nothing else functions. And this is why self-command is more potent than any external method. It's not about amazing her with language or deeds. It's about evolving into a man whose aura naturally demands focus. Women are intuitively pulled to stability, self-belief, and authenticity. They react to vibe long before they analyze logic. Your vibe establishes the atmosphere, directs the appeal, and decides whether she's interested or apathetic. So, what is your action with this insight? You redirect your attention inward. You develop calm self-belief. You practice resolute presence in every interaction. You cease reacting to endorsement or validation and start emitting certainty. It's uneasy because it forces you to confront aspects of yourself you've ignored. It's tough because it demands persistence, endurance, and self-truth. But this is how unseen influence is constructed. The influence that women sense intuitively, even when they can't explain why. Understanding these switches isn't just about romance. It's about evolving into a man who functions on an elevated level than most. Once you grasp this, every engagement shifts from doubt to magnetic connection. Women react naturally, effortlessly, because instinct doesn't deceive. Vibe communicates more powerfully than language, and mastery of that vibe separates men who attract from men who disappear. Now we arrive at the point where concept becomes practice. Everything I've explained so far, aura, vibe, instinctual knowledge, is worthless without execution. Understanding female instincts isn't about studying texts, learning tricks, or imitating behaviors. It's about personifying a degree of inner command that women feel before they hear your voice. This is the unseen force that divides the men who are seen from the men who are forgotten. Most men think appeal is complex, but it's not. It's about one element: how your vibe communicates authority, steadiness, and self-belief. Women react to this intuitively. They feel it in subtle ways: a firm look, a peaceful tone, a poised body language. The instant you command these components, the entire paradigm shifts completely. Your language is intensified, your aura is magnetic, and your engagements become smooth. She notices without actively knowing why, because instinct speaks before logic ever does. Here's the difficult reality. Reaching this level of aura needs brutal self-truth. It demands facing fears, vulnerabilities, and self-doubt you've concealed from yourself. Most men evade this because it's uncomfortable, and ease is simple. But appeal, genuine appeal, exists outside of ease. It exists in the space where you confront yourself and choose not to retreat. It's not glamorous, it's subtle. It's not noisy, it's absolute. And when you reach this stage, women react naturally, without requiring persuasion. This is where the majority of men stumble. They pursue validation, they attempt to perform, and they misinterpret instinct as deception. They completely miss the essence. The truth is straightforward but uncommon. Women are drawn to men whose vibe signals assurance, presence, and rooted power. If you personify this, you don't need to chase her focus. She will perceive, she will be intrigued, and her replies will be authentic because they are driven by instinct, not language. So the ultimate takeaway is this: stop focusing on your dialogue. Stop trying to dazzle. Start focusing on your fundamental identity and how you appear in every situation. Cultivate a vibe that communicates self-belief, command, and steadiness. Master aura, master self, and you will witness outcomes that men chasing shortcuts can only imagine. The reality is tough but freeing. Appeal is not generated by vocabulary, position, or charm. It's generated by the man who has commanded himself first. Once you accept this fact, everything transforms. Your engagements, your self-belief, your impact, they all change. And the women who react aren't reacting to your statements, they're reacting to the vibe you emit. Embrace this power, personify this vibe, and observe the unseen mechanisms of instinct operate for you. If this shifted your perspective, support this channel, like the video, and follow PsychSeeker for insights you won't find anywhere else.